What's up, everybody? Here to talk about another brewing method, the famous French press, right? So I know there's a lot of people out here who have heard of these, who have had these. The French press has kind of like a loyalist following where they're like, it's the best brewing method ever. Okay, you know, I'm good with whatever. It doesn't really bother me either way. So as you can see up close, it's pretty simple. It's just a glass carafe with a metal filter here, right? This is what it is. So literally the reason why it's a press, you put it in and you press the filter down, right? The grinds go down, the coffee comes up. Ta-da, that's it. Not really. There's a little bit more to it. So when you're brewing with a French press, you have to have a very coarse grind for two reasons. One, because your metal mesh filter is pretty fine, but not perfectly fine, right? So if you have too fine of a grind, then those little particles are going to come up and you're going to have sludge at the bottom of your cup when you pour it. So make sure you have a nice coarse grind, okay? Secondly, this is a steeping brewing process, meaning the coffee is just going to sit in hot water for a long time. It's not rushed, the water's not flowing through or anything like that, it's just steeping. So if you have too fine of a grind, then it's just going to extract everything out, not going to taste very good, okay? So how do you brew with a French press? It's super easy. Like I said, have a coarse grind, just like with all coffee. Make sure you're using good water, okay? Don't just use tap water. Tap water is gross. We don't even like drinking it by itself. It makes bad coffee, okay? So use good water. Then, super easy. You should weigh out your coffee, right? If you're not into weighing, then just trial and error until you like a strength that you like. But I mean, it's as simple as putting the coffee in, boiling your water. Okay, so like I said, with these kettles, we're pretty used to them. They get going and they bubble and they bubble and they shake. Take it off, turn it off, let it sit for a couple of minutes, right? You can feel it. It'll still be boiling, and then it'll slow, and then it'll stop. That's when you pour it, okay? And then you can take it, fill her up. Usually most of them have a stopping point, like a line. Usually with the frame, this one is probably right about there. Or when you put this in, you can kind of see, right, that this line right here lines up with the mesh frame. So that's where you want it. You want it to push the grinds just a little bit into the water, but they're still gonna float. You don't want them like in the middle. You want them at the top, but not so floating that they're dry, right? So you want them to just press just a little bit. So like I said, most brewers, the frame is a line for your water fill, okay? So they'll tell you, put in this much coffee, fill to this line. They try to make it as simple as possible. So like I said, water off the boil, not boiling, off the boil, meaning it was bouncing around and now it's stopped. At that point, pour up to the line, put your filter on top, all the way up, let it sit. Brewing time for this is longer than like a regular pour over, which is around 3 minutes. These brew from 4 to 5 minutes, depending on what you like. I probably would go on the side of 4 rather than on the side of 5. That's just me though. So I would probably brew my French press at 4 minutes, but then again, I would taste it. And if it's astringent or if it seems like it's not extracted or it hasn't pulled out all of the good stuff, it's not balanced, then maybe take it a little bit longer. But I would probably stick around that 4 minute mark. I don't like going too much longer than that. At the end of 4 minutes, press it down, and you don't just like, BAM! You don't need to do that, right? Just take it real slow. It's gonna be pressurized because it's gonna be pushing the grinds down and the water up through it. So this is about the only time you get any sort of like washing of the grinds, right? The water is gonna rush through this kind of puck of coffee grinds. So you push it down nice and slow, get it down there. It usually stops right around there. Put a little bit of pressure on it. Done. At that point, pour your coffee out. Okay, so you got your cups, pour it out, fill them up, be done. Okay, so one of the mistakes, we'll talk about mistakes in the next video, but a lot of people leave the coffee in here. If you leave it in here for too long, that's when you start getting bitterness, right? And our goal is to rid the world of bitter coffee, right? So we want to have delicious coffee accessible to all of us. So, like I said, super easy. Measure out your grinds, fill to the fill point, 4-minute steep, press slow, pour the coffee completely out, okay? Like fill your cup up and then be done with this, okay? So that is my tutorial on the French press. So give it a try. If you have variations on your brewing, let me know. I would love to hear them. It's a pretty tried and true brewing method. It's been around forever. And yeah, like I said, there's a lot of people super loyal to it. The reason why they like it so much is because of that metal filter, really. That metal filter lets a lot of the oils and the superfines come through, so there's usually a lot more body. It's thicker, right, to be honest with you. So give it a try. It's worth comparing to your different brewing methods. So to be honest with you, a French press isn't my favorite, but it serves its purposes, to be honest. But like I said, coffee is to each their own. I prefer a paper filter. That's just how I like things. But give it a try. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you do it differently. If you found this helpful with your brewing, if it's helping you get less bitter coffee, let me know. And then also, please like, share, subscribe. Let everybody know about this. We need to get the message out so that we can get rid of bitter coffee. Right? Okay. Appreciate you guys.